Hello viewers, trust that you are well and welcome to a political exclusive interview here at PMTV Kenya. My name is Anton and of course today I'm hosting one of the most sharp-minded guys in this country, a youthful leader. He has been a lawyer, he is a lawyer, and we will have exclusive conversation on matters to do with politics today. Of course, keep your opinions coming, keep your views coming at Anton at PMTV Kenya across all social media platforms and they will get in touch. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Asante.
Uko namna gani?
Salama, and thank you for having me today.
Karibu sana.
I really appreciate it. It's a good place.
Long time.
Yeah,
not seeing you.
I've been busy. Still rolling in the political world, but everything is okay. I thank God that we're still pressing on.
Now, for a person who is watching you for the first time, briefly explain. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
For the first time, for those who have seen me for the first time, my name is Evans Muchanga. I am a lawyer by profession. I'm also an advocate trainee at the Kenya School of Law. Equally, I am a youth leader in Kikuyu Constituency, and I also run several organizations, including organizations that focus on empowering the girl child, empowering the young mothers, organizations that focus on mental health awareness, and yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. And above all, I love Manchester United.
That's a good point. I know some viewers will be happy to hear that. But now, kicking off, you have been a student leader in a certain university. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I have been a student leader in Chuka University. I served between the year 2024 and 2025 as the president of the association. And equally, I served as the Secretary General of the Universities and Colleges Students Association. And yeah, that has been my journey in the student leadership world. Currently also going for the president of the Kenya School of Law.
Wow, amazing. All the best mheshimiwa mtarajiwa wa Kikuyu Constituency, na pia tunakuombea mema sana. Now, let's talk about things that are happening in this country. You have seen what is happening in ODM party, a party that was intact in time of His Excellency late Raila Amolo Odinga, a party that people cherished, a party that was loved by people. But right now, it's splitting. It's like something is not happening right inside the party.
Yeah.
What can you say about that?
I think the factions that we see in ODM were factions that were expected after the death of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. You see, this party, first of all, has a long history, and you have to look at the history so that then you can understand the present. So when we look at the history of ODM party was actually formed like 20 years ago, and you find that it's a party that has taken a stance in major political decisions in this country. When you look even at the Constitution of Kenya 2010, ODM party also played a critical role. We are looking at key figures such as Pentagon. We're looking at people like William Samoei Ruto, His Excellency. We're looking at people like Najib Balala. We're looking at people like Martha Karua. We're looking at people who were in the ODM party who also played a critical role in shaping this country's constitution. But then we look into the future. So how did ODM get here? That's the real question. So you find after the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, then there were factions who said that Raila left them in government. The other factions who say that Raila wanted them to be in opposition and constructively oppose. So that's what they're saying. So you find that once a leader has left, then without any person to actually inherit, then it becomes a big problem. And that's the problem that we always have with our political parties. Our political parties are not institutionalized, they are more of personalized. So if, for example, I exit ODM, then ODM becomes, actually ODM shatters because now I am the vision bearer and nobody else has the vision that I have. So currently we find that there are leaders who are speaking to the opposition side, the leaders who are speaking to government side. So each and every faction believes that that's where Baba wanted them to be at this point in time.
That's true, and you have really talked a very important point there. But democratically, every leader in a party, they have that right to express themselves, like their opinions, the side in which they support. Do you feel like ODM and Muso, let's talk about this, in this case, let me talk about John Badi, the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, who recently said that ODM should expel SG Jerosco because he has been very vocal in the party, of course, you know, fighting the party that is already in broad-based government. Do you think, like, because he has been a chairman of ODM some years back, and at that time he expelled, he convened a committee where he expelled that time Secretary General, by that time was Sababu Namwamba. Yes. And then he was expelled out of ODM. Do you think that's the right thing that ODM should do right now to Edwin Sifuna?
I think, first of all, divergent opinions should always be welcome in any party and in any setting. Once you look at the Constitution, there is a freedom of expression that is well captured in Article 33. And the Constitution then goes ahead to say that any subsequent laws that are formed, including party constitutions, including the ODM party constitution, then should not be repugnant to justice and morality, and should not be repugnant, that is Article 2, to the existing law, that is the Constitution. So it means, therefore, that the SG has the capacity of the SG and his capacity as Edwin Sifuna. So when he speaks as Edwin Sifuna, it is rightful of him to express his views. But when he speaks as the Secretary General of ODM party, then it is rightful for them to have consensus and for them to agree that this is the party position. But then that does not limit him from speaking his own mind and speaking his views. If he does not agree, then I believe ODM should have better internal mechanisms aside from actually expelling him from the party, because that's his stance, that's what he believes as Edwin Sifuna. When it comes, and that he always states it whenever he actually they have a press conference as ODM. For example, when I see that the ODM caucus has met and they have discussed and deliberated, they want to have a stance on an issue, then the SG says this is the party position. But when he's speaking as Sifuna, that is a whole different thing, and he's allowed because there is a freedom of expression. So when CS Mbadi then comes in to say that he has to be expelled, then I wonder why should he be expelled, because there must be grounds for expulsion. Is it for him taking a stance on SHA? Is it for him taking a stance on education? Is it for him taking a stance on security? Or what is it that is making him to be expelled? Or is it misconduct? We also have to look at the party ideals. So is it gross misconduct that has caused him to be expelled from the party? Has he then gone outside what is captured in the party ideals? So then Mbadi, I think, and Mbadi is not even supposed to be venturing into the political arena. You know, actually the Constitution captures that very well. Any cabinet secretary or any state official should not be involved in political matters. As much as he's an ODM member, but right now he's inactive because he's in government, he's a CS. So let him leave that to the party caucus. I know there are internal mechanisms within the party. So for him weighing in such a matter as at now, he has to first of all resign for him to actually comment on his political party.
Sure, I think it's a trend that we have seen with cabinet secretaries also speaking about CS Joho, cabinet secretary for mining. He has also been heard in public, he has been in political rallies talking about matters to do with politics, despite him being a CS. Constitutionally, it is not accepted, just as you have said. But now, do you think that Kenyans have lost trust in ODM? Do they trust ODM anymore?
Well, truth be told, you can't compare the level of trust that people had with ODM when Baba was alive and the level of trust that they currently have. Reason being, you see, for Baba, he gave direction to the party. At least you will know that if something is not right, then Baba must speak. And once he speaks, then ODM's party has spoken. But as we speak right now, you find that there are too many leaders in ODM who are driven by self-interest. And for them, it's all a matter of, am I feeding well within the total movement? You see, for them, it's not even a matter of, is this the right position for me to take? So you find that erodes the trust with the people. So when the people see that, first of all, you are after your selfish interest, you're after greed, you're after singing praises to the president. You're not even after, consulting the people, listening to their views, ensuring that you give a stance that is actually emanating from the people. So people lose trust in you. So as you speak currently, people don't really have trust in ODM as a party. But then there are specific individuals within ODM. I'll cite, for example, Sifuna. Exactly. We have Babu Owino. We have other officials within the party who at least carry forward the spirit that Baba had, the spirit of standing with the people. And at least individually speaking, people have a lot of trust in them. But in terms of the party, ODM party, people don't really have trust in the party.
Now, when you speak about certain individuals, and then you have cited Babu Owino, Sifuna, and also I think James Orengo.
Yes.
Do you think that Babu Owino, Mheshimiwa Embakasi should be given the kingship of Nyanza region?
Well, I'm not so sure what is required.
Does he really fit?
I'm not so sure of what is required, but from the position that I speak from, I think Babu Owino has proven beyond reasonable doubt. First of all, because that's unfortunately that's the trajectory that the Kenyan politics takes, that you have to be a kingpin of some region for you to then transit to the national politics. When we look at how he has carried himself, he has, continuously shown growth. He has continuously shown that yesterday I was a leader of the University of Nairobi, today I'm a leader of Embakasi, the other day I'll be a leader probably in Nairobi, according to his ambitions. Probably will become the kingpin of Nyanza region. So, speaking from a very objective point of view, I think he's qualified to be the kingpin of Nyanza region. But that then also depends with the region itself. They also wish to take him in as their leader, or they wish to then tell him to, first of all, continuously grow so that they can give him that particular position. So it squarely lies with the community for them to then decide the fate of power.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Now, going to other matters, we have seen recently what has been happening at State House, where President William Ruto has met different leaders from different regions, starting from Kisii region. He also met close to over 12,000 aspirants in UDA party. Article 10 of the Constitution speaks about the national values and principles that should guide these national institutions. Do you think that President William Ruto is violating that article by hosting members, different aspirants in State House?
The problem with this country is that we politicize everything. And once people get into power, they always think about retaining power. That's the most unfortunate bit. And in direct response to your question, President William Ruto has violated, by all means and essence, the Constitution. When you look at Article 10 of the Constitution, it captures the national principles and values. Principles of transparency, principles of public engagement and public participation and such kind of things. But then when we look into the decision that he made, then host 12,000, I think, and 63 aspirants drawn from various parts of the country into State House, that decision was not even anchored in law. And that's why we have UDA, UDA headquarters, right? I think it's located in Ngong. And if at all we want to host any, say, political function, we want to host leaders within the party, that's where now the party SG and the party chairlady, that's Cecily Mbarire, come in. They call those aspirants at the party headquarters, they speak to them, and then afterwards probably they go for a neck meeting with the president, because he's a party leader. In as much as he's the president, a national figure, he's still a party leader. And then hosting the whole delegation in State House, that then goes outside the precepts of the Constitution. And that then does not symbolize State House as a national organ, a national uniting organ. It then signifies State House as a two-term organ, because it's supposed, State House is supposed to actually host all leaders, irrespective of your party position, irrespective of whether you sing two-term or one-term. You're supposed to be hosted in State House. But then hosting people who sing to your chorus, that then violates the whole issue of the national values and principles and the issue of unity in the country.
But when we listen to the President William Ruto speaking about people coming to the State House, says that now before we could not visit the State House.
Yes.
Has it made it too available for Kenyans? Or what's the problem?
Well, you see, visiting State House is not a problem. Anybody would love to visit State House. And you see that, for example, in the US, you find that anybody can visit the White House. Anybody. You can go there, you can take pictures, you can even see the president walking down, going to his office, Oval Office, and such kind of things. So State House really is a national organ, something that is for us all. But then there is also the level of, what do I call it? The level of dignity to the house, right? Dignity to State House. So if everybody then can access State House that way, then what happens to the issues of protocol? What then happens to the issue of also regulating each and every integrity going to State House? It's something that you can discuss, for example, in town, in a certain joint or in a certain hotel. Why do you have to take our matters to State House? We also have to also observe such kind of decorum, in as much as it's not restricted in the Constitution. But then you also need to also observe, we can't take every nitty-gritty to State House, right? Or just anybody to State House. We also need to also have some protocols, and that's why we have structures. We have party structures, we have government structures. If you want to take, for example, an issue with regards to water, an issue with regards to health, that's why we have a CS there, and they sit in cabinet. So we don't want to restrict people to go to State House, but then you're also saying that it's also important that we also observe structure and protocol.
Well articulated. Let's speak about matters that happened in June 21st, 2024. Gen Zs and young people took to roads, demonstrated following the finance bill, some of the aspects inside the finance bill that they thought that they are really overtaxing or they are already burdened Kenyans. And the whole thing, perhaps it was maybe because there was not enough public participation on which aspects have been added in this finance bill, what implications they have to Kenyans. So do you think that the parliament has overlooked the importance and the vitality of public participation?
It's a good question. And first of all, when you look at the finance bill 2024, it falls into Article 201 of the Constitution. And Article 201 of the Constitution gives us the requisites of public finance. It talks about issues of public participation, it talks about issues of equality, it talks about issues of equity, it talks about issues of transparency, accountability, and such kind. So there are 6 principles in total that are encapsulated in Article 201. So the biggest principle that actually made people go out of into the streets is something that we call public participation. So you see, public participation is not just public participation. It's not just coming and telling you that there is a finance bill existing in Parliament. It's also coming and explaining to you, this is the implication that the finance bill has to you. This is the implication that the finance bill has to the Income Tax Act. This is the implication that it has to the Tax Procedures Act, and such kind of things. This is the implication that it has to your payslip. So it also goes down to that level. This is the implication, for example, I remember there's a big issue that it has to the cost of sanitary pads that are being imported. So you see, the problem that we had at that particular point in time was, first of all, the communication structures. And it was not a privilege that the government was doing to the people to actually provide them with the information. It is a right, and it is well captured in Article 35 of the Constitution, that you have to give the people information. So once I'm informed, then it will be informed public participation. It will not just be public participation that is cosmetic.
Right.
So the problem that we have, even as we speak right now, people don't know about the existence of certain laws. And the problem is that the members of parliament then take it to themselves and say that we conducted public participation. We give the people the chance to actually give out their views and air out whatever they have to say within this particular law, this particular proposal. But then, do those people even know what is the implication? Right? So I think 2024 proved to us that people now are tech savvy. People can now actually comment constructively on the bills, And that's the problem that the members of parliament had, adjusting to the new realities. That now people, regardless of whether you're given them information or not, they're going to dig into those bills. They're going to, for example, as the Gen Zs did, they're going to translate it into the different languages so that even the Mama Mboga there at home, even the Shosho there at home can understand what this finance bill is actually saying. So we had a wide gap in between that the leaders thought that the people could not actually access this information without giving them, but the people actually proved that you're tech savvy enough, you can access this information. So, but you know, we have to actually look into it in a minute. What was the implication of the demonstrations? The demonstrations, number one, made the president actually fire his whole cabinet. Exactly. Number two, the demonstrations proved to us that we can also ensure that there is accountability in government. That was the whole essence of the demonstration. Number three, also the demonstration proved to us that at least we can see that there is a reduction in the number of employees or civil servants in government. So, but you know how that has come back to the whole the whole thing, the whole saga that we are in currently, that we have so many advisors, we have so many people who are in government who are they are duplicated, their roles are duplicated and such kind of things. There's so many things that we have gone back. We have made a lot of strides backwards.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a whole thing that we can comment on. But
so can you say that Gen Zs really got what they really wanted? What they demonstrated for? Did they get the reward they were looking for?
I think that's what I've actually said right now. The Gen Zs did not get what they wanted. Because if you look, for example, I'll cite two examples. Number one, they stated that we don't want to recycle the same leaders that we had. Leaders who show us opulence, leaders who show us expensive watches, leaders who tell us, look, you are going into the streets with an Uber, you have chicken, you have fries that you're going into the demonstrations with. So it means that these things are not really affecting you. We don't want to recycle such leaders. Number two, the Gen Zs also stated that we have to have an end to corruption. So if it comes to public accountability, then the government must ensure that everything is done in the public limelight. If it is issues of tendering, government tenders have to be open. It is not something that has to be closed. We have to have accountability when it comes to CDF. All these things you have to have accountability. Those are the major two major things that actually the Gen Zs were anticipating that would happen. Number one, the same leaders were recycled. So it means that we didn't make any progress because you saw that they were fired. And then afterwards, they were recycled. Exactly. They were given different ministers. So it means that we did not achieve in that particular angle. Number two, we did not achieve in terms of corruption because subsequently, we have had a lot of cases. We've had the Adani deal, the case that actually even went to the court. And the court said that there has to be, the government has to follow the public-private partnerships when it comes to tendering, when it comes to outsourcing and giving Adani the particular deal. So number two, we have the issues of SHA. So exactly. SHA has become a corruption den. That right now we are seeing in the papers that we are losing close to 11 billion shillings. So that means that in terms of corruption, we did not also achieve. We're also seeing that State House has become a corruption den because then once, for example, I remember when we had 10,000 teachers in the State House, each and every teacher was given 10,000 shillings. What is that?
A lot of money,
right? And then when we look into the budget that was allocated to State House, virtue of the control of budget report, could not actually sustain the amount of expenses that were there for the 10,000 teachers. When we look at even the UBA aspirants, some colleagues of mine tell me that when they went to State House, they were given around 5,000 shillings to 10,000 shillings. Depending on not whether you have connections. So if you have connections, you assist 10,000 shillings. So minimum is 5,000 shillings. So what does that mean? We did not achieve in terms of corruption. So two things. Number one, we did not achieve in terms of leaders, fresh leaders who know their ministries very well, competency and all those things. We recycled the same leaders. Number two, there was a lot of there was corruption then, and there's still corruption now.
Now, do you think you have spoken a very important point, but now let's look at this. Do you think that it's time now for the youths to say, come on, we are going for these seats, we are going to vie for these seats, that we have always recycled leaders, for example, in MPs and MCAs, even in senators. We have seen a lot of them who have been recycled over and over again. Do you think that it's now the right time for the youth to come out and now announce they're back on this political seat?
I think the youth should take up these opportunities. You see, for a long time, the youth have been complaining that they are always on the menu and they're not on the table.
Exactly.
So when we look into it as we speak, we have the opportunity. And opportunities never come twice, they come once. When we want to revolutionize this country and make it replicate Singapore, for example, then it means that we have to have a fresh breed of leadership. Because currently, as we speak, there are very few leaders, select leaders, who are actually doing their very best. Many of them are not doing the best. So the Gen Z should take up these positions. When it comes to, we're not only focusing on the president, because laws are not made in State House, laws are made in Parliament. Laws are not made in State House, laws are made in the county assemblies. So if we have the opportunity to go into the county assemblies as MCAs, we have the opportunity to go for the MP positions. We also have the opportunity to even go for the gubernatorial positions. We have the opportunity to also seek for even the presidential and the deputy president positions. But let us not only focus on Kasongo must go. So if Kasongo goes and we recycle the same members of parliament, the same laws that are oppressive are also going to be made. So Gen Zs need to take up these positions. They need to declare their bids. They need to go to the ground. They need to pick out their votes, because that's very, very important. Because without even the votes, then it will become negatory. It will become futile for you to then seek a position. You don't have your votes. Your constituents who are the Gen Zs don't have don't have votes. So it's a wholesome thing, because it's systems. You need to understand the systems for you to actually, constructively object whatever is in the system.
Exactly.
And part of the system will be you vying for that particular position. So I encourage them, let them vie for the positions.
Exactly, thank you. We are still speaking with Evans Muchanga, currently aspiring for an MP position, but then will not disclose it until it closes it itself. And now moving on, Evans, now that you have talked about young people going for these seats, I understand you come from Kiambu County, Kikuyu Constituency. Current Member of Parliament is Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority in the National Assembly. Do you have any interest in that seat? Tell us. Are you going for that seat next year?
Yes, definitely. I will. And there are two reasons for that. Number one, you see, for a very long time, and you must give credit where it's due. For a very long period of time, we have seen that Kikuyu Constituency has grown, and Kikuyu Constituency has had road networks being developed and such kind of things. But we must ask ourselves: are roads the only kind of development that can happen in the constituency? There are too many things that are not going well in Kikuyu Constituency, including, number one, the matters of education. So when you look at, for example, the current education system, that is the competence-based education system, you find that there have been a lot of harambees to take students to grade 10. That's the first thing. So what does that mean? That the software is not okay, that the parents are actually suffering.
Thank you so much, Evans. Now, your final shot as we wind up our interview. Speak to Kikuyu constituents who are watching you this particular time now. Speak to them.
First of all, is to appreciate the people of Kikuyu constituency, because they have shown us a good level of maturity. They have shown us that they can actually embrace new leaders. They can actually embrace the Gen Zs, and I really want to appreciate them. Secondly, is to tell them that we are going to focus on the software, as you have mentioned. We're going to focus on the issues of SHA. We're going to focus on the issues of education. We're going to focus on the issues of security to ensure that the software is fixed. Number three is to tell them that once leaders are working, it is not actually a privilege. It is a right for them. So they need to assess objectively and say that where has our money gone to? If at all it's the budgetary allocations, if at all it's money that's supposed to go to a particular road, the road has been done shoddily, so they have to question their leader. So I'm coming in as a person who is new into the political world, outside political world, but who also believes that he has a vision for Kikuyu constituency. And once I'm given the opportunity, I'll serve you, the people of Kikuyu constituency. I'll ensure that we engage. I'll ensure that we have transparency. I'll ensure that we also have engagements that are aimed at ensuring that we move our constituency forward.
Thank you so much. We have been speaking to Evans Muchanga, who is aspiring to become the MP for Kikuyu constituency. He is a lawyer in profession. He's also currently in Kenya School of Law doing ensuring that he is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. My name is Anton Dolo, and this is PMTV Kenya. Until next time, thank you.